We had a fun trip this summer into the Bob Marshall for a fly fishing trip. It started out here at this Alpaca trailhead near Holland Lake. It was the only way you can really access this area is either to hike in or if you find an outfitter to pack you in. We decided to find the outfitter. We went with this Chef's Outfitters. They were good. And we tagged along with a group, two older gentlemen and one of the older gentleman's grandsons. He was just 8 years old, pretty impressive. It was 29 or 30 miles in on horse. It was 11 and a half hours. It was absolutely brutal. As we came up here to the top of the pass, went by the lake, you could see there were some waterfalls we went past. It's about a quarter of the way up. Already, we were starting to get pretty sore on these horses. As you make your way down from the pass, you can see way down at the bottom, way down there in the bottom of that V, all the way down where it looks like it's going to run into that other mountain range. And that's where we're going. It was a long, dusty, slow descent. About this time, one of my knees was hurting. That's the thing you don't think about on a horse, is your knees are what's going to hurt. This is about halfway. You come across this cabin, Forest Service cabin. As you descend, you start getting down to this Gordon Creek. I tried watching it to see if you could float it. You might be able to. There'd be a lot of portaging. You'd struggle with all your gear. As you descend here, we cross Gordon Creek into the campground for the first night. Boy, we were so ready to get off the horse. Here are our trusty steeds. And then now our floating steeds, I guess. They've got this T-zip. You put your gear in there and you zip it shut and pump it up. Keeps it all dry and everything good. In hindsight, we probably should have done the first 5 miles over a couple of days. Here's Mr. Orth.
South Fork of the Flathead River, we just got into a hole and just lit them up. I mean, we just tanked a few. This has been so fun. It's day 2, but technically day 1 of fishing. I don't know how many buds caught, but I know his Rainbow Warrior's getting worn out, and the caddis has been my dessert treat for the fish, so having a great time.
Came across a few pack bridges. This area is really well run by the Forest Service. Good, beautiful weather. Sunny. I fished basically nothing but dries. It seemed like when the sun was out, the dries did really well. The fish were looking up. Caught a lot of fish that were probably in that 12 to 15 inch range. Most of the fish, though, for me on the dries were kind of on the smaller side. The other guys, they caught up to about 18 inches, maybe a touch over. As you can see, absolutely beautiful. Here's where we stayed the second night. We actually packed in some steak, and so we were having that on a rock in the fire here riverside.
All right, out here now, just landed this very nice 14, 15 incher. See on this really nice elk hair caddis. Fishing out of this hole right here. He's right up against that wood. Beautiful fish. Tell me this is not pristine waters. Let's watch the netting. What'd you catch that fish on, bud? Caddis.
This is one of the holes from early on. I was fishing the bottom half of this pool. I was, as I said, I was using dry flies, so I would like kind of skate them at the bottom of the pool, and had a lot of takes. Some fish that were bigger, a lot of smaller fish as I was fishing the bottom of those holes.
Got it. Cowboy Cerrone style. No net, folks. This requires a little bit of agility. Yes, sir.
Kind of a skinny fish, this one. Most of the fish, though, looked very healthy. The other guys, when they were fishing those droppers, they actually pulled in. And I did too when I did finally go under the surface. Some whitefish, which lets you know the river's healthy. The other guy's better fisherman than me, in truth. Another take. So fun. Crystal clear water. Watching the fish come up and just hammer those dries. Couldn't bring myself to do anything else. That's all I wanted. I didn't even care if they were little. Missed my opportunity here for a photo. I slipped out of my hands. The river really started to widen up as you picked up the different creeks. The further down you traveled. As I said earlier, we should have fished the upper river longer. It's one of my favorite holes. Had a couple of forks of the river that kind of came together and turned around a corner and provided this slow water, and there you go. Right along that edge. At this point I switched and was fishing more of a hopper, trying to throw it. It's later in the afternoon. We're actually getting ready to find camp. Really fun fishing off this point. Making Bud net my fish. Here we got into some trouble. We decided to separate.
Well, here I am with a deflated raft, unfortunately. And I'm gonna try to blow it up by my mouth. Jens and Bud have gone way upriver. I've been chasing for half an hour, but we'll get it fixed hopefully with some air from the mouth.
And of course we're out here, totally oblivious, catching fish after fish out of this hole. In our defense, we did wait for what we thought was a long time, but I think he got slowed down with the whole raft thing. Yikes. The good news for Orthman is it didn't stop him from fishing. And look, I'm catching this little dink. Look at that. Mr. Orth, he's off catching hogs.
Well, I am fighting an absolute hog on my fly rod here. See if you can get a glimpse of him here. Yep. This is a very big boy. Okay, he has been landed, and I'm gonna say this is a good 17 incher. Woo! That's awesome. Let's go. Sweet, what a fish.
Here I moved closer to the edge, and this is a decent sized fish that comes out. Probably one of the better ones out of this hole. We pulled a bunch. Took me a while to fight it. You'll see here before I get it in, the cloud cover comes in. So after this, we started looking for a camp. We stopped at the place we were going to, but it was full. So Then we had to go downriver further, and that caused more trouble, unfortunately.
So I landed that big fish, but nobody's here to see it. So it's like it didn't even happen. You know what? I can't believe I fell for it. Hey, we'll meet you for lunch in 1 hour. I think I saw Jensen wink. 1 hour. I am rookie mistake. New to the wilderness, Bob Marshall. They're thinking, hey, this guy will fall for anything. Let's tell him we'll meet him for lunch in an hour. Ha! We'll see if we can maybe see him in a day or two. It's a good thing that I've got the jet boil, because this guy is not gonna starve. Those guys are gonna be eating some crunchy biscuits and gravy, soaking it in cold water. Ugh. All right, Lord, you know where everybody is. You're good all the time.
So good news is it worked out. We found camp, Mr. Orth found us. Of course, it was about 10 p.m. and he was navigating with his headlamp, but we stayed together after that. This is where we stayed the second night on the river. So it'd be the third night overall. Somebody had built this fire pit.
Ready to go.
See, beautiful mornings.
Cowboy Cerrone. Ooh, I just netted an absolute toad out here. That was a 4-minute fight out of these riffles here. Just a beautiful trout. I'm gonna put that guy 17 plus. Thank you, Lord.
The first flag that you're going to see here in a second marks an area that if I was going to hike in, I would probably hike to there and fish. And then the second is Black Bear Creek. This creek that came out right before, there's actually a place there on the river. You need to stay to the right. If you go to the left, it's a pretty big hole you don't want to get caught in. Here we pulled in. It goes into this tight canyon with really deep water. And I got up here on this ledge and fished down. Caught 6-inch fish. Probably could have stayed here catching 6-inch fish all day. It was kind of fun. Really deep. We were there after the 1st of August. This was like the first week of August. And we thought in this deeper water would be a great place to try to find bull trout, but the Fish and Wildlife told us that we couldn't target them at this time of year. Here we're floating through that canyon as it goes around the corner. You can see it's real tight how wide the river was before. And here, like I say, it's crystal clear and it's deep. I mean, I don't know if it's 20 feet deep or more, but it's really deep. The first flag is a hole that we, kind of a chute in a hole that was fun that we fished. The second one is this pack bridge. Weird to see these pack bridges way back in the middle of nowhere. From this point on, we didn't really fish a bunch, and when we did, we didn't have much luck. Later on in the day, a cold front moves in, and that could have affected the fish. A little bit of a rodeo here. Pretty fun. Now there's a few areas that are maybe a little sketchy, but nothing you can't walk around. Just as you're floating, you want to scout ahead a little bit. These pack rafts are incredibly stable. And with all of our gear in and everything, impossible to flip, it seemed. You can see this is that cold front, those clouds that are coming in. The temperature dropped probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 degrees, and that made a big difference. So that flag is where you pull out. And if you don't pull out, it actually has this sign that says, hey, go ahead and pull out in that little cove to the right. Don't do that. Get out before where that sign is, because I don't even know how you'd get out there. The rest of the canyon I've watched videos of people that have run it, but they walk around a lot of it. And with all of your gear, that wasn't for us. If we had hiked up and we're just going to float out those 3 miles, then fine, but it gets real tight in here. Before we left, I heard that there's really not a place where you can get out of the river to get to the parking lot. That's not true. So if you decide to run it, there is a wide area you can scramble up a hill. As I'm hiking out, like I said, it was 3 miles. This is leaving the Bob Marshall. As you've seen in a lot of the video, a lot of the area was burned, so it's kind of growing back. This is the last bridge, another pack bridge. You go over the canyon. And it's a short walk up and out of this canyon into the parking lot. And here they are. You can see how they've got their pack raft kind of attached to their pack, just hanging off the back. It's a little awkward, but it's doable. That's it, the Bob Marshall. Gordon Creek Confluence to Meadow Creek Gorge. Great trip. A lot of fish. Beautiful weather. First week of August.